Morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hoon Dok Hae. Together with this time, it's Unshield, together with Reverend Arnold Fika, and it's Wednesday, the 13th of April or the 13th of March in the 10th year of Chongyol. So let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parent and True Parents, Chariot, Kyombe, Karo. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가전맨세 2. 천일국 주인 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시오 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 춘신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 선자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 2. Our family, the owner of Chongyol, pledges to represent and become central to heaven and earth by attending the Heavenly Parent and True Parents. We pledge to perfect the dutiful family way of filial sons and daughters in our family, patriots in our nation, saints in the world, and divine sons and daughters in heaven and on earth by centering on true love. Mary Moriarty, if you could offer the opening prayer, please.
Our most beloved Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, we're grateful for each and every day that you bring to us. We can experience your love in the mornings through the sunrises, through the birds singing. You embrace us with your love through the creation, Heavenly Parent, and we're so grateful. I pray that you can, and we're also grateful for our true parents who have brought so much truth to this world, have enabled humanity to understand about the situation of humankind and why we've suffered. And they've showed us how we can resolve the problems of history and to change ourselves and to establish beautiful families. We're so grateful to our true parents. We're sorry that there's so few of us that really understand them. We pray, Heavenly Parent, all people of all nations to open their hearts and their minds to understand your providence at this time, to understand that you have sent the original Adam and Eve that failed in the Garden of Eden to be with us now, who have fulfilled that responsibility and a whole lot more than what they had, because it wasn't just them on a family level, but our true parents restored all of human history and all the problems on every level, right up to the world cosmic level. It's unbelievable, almost unbelievable what they've done and how they've been able to accomplish it. They've sacrificed themselves 100% and have suffered so much at the same time, but their love of you, Heavenly Parent, kept them going, and their desire to see your children return to you enabled them to fulfill. Now we have the responsibility to reach out and to bring people to them, to help them to understand. We pray for leaders of nations to open their hearts, open their minds, and repent if they need to of wrong thinking, to open their hearts to receive your truth, to be able to lead the people of their nation in the right direction to you, Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, I pray that you can be with each and every one of us this morning as we hear your words and come to understand a little bit more of your truth. We offer this prayer in the name of Douglas, Mary, and Carlos Moriarty, Bliss Central family, are due.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I'd like to welcome Arnold, Reverend Arnold Fika, to share with us this morning.
Good morning, all our beloved leaders. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, yes, can hear you.
First of all, I would like to thank again Reverend Yutaka for giving me this opportunity again to be able to share our Father's word for our Anshiel holiday this morning. So I would like to secondly warmly welcome all our blessed family members, brothers and sisters who make time to join this morning's Hoon Dok, Anshiel Hoon Dok. Yes, so today is 13th March in the 10th year of General Cook, 13th of April 2022. So I would like to share this morning shortly about mainly my sharing is about True Parents visit to Solomon Islands. So I would like to share some photos and also read a little bit of True Father's inaugural message, and also would like to do a little bit of reflection on True Parents' words. So let's begin. So True Parents made a historical visit to Solomon Islands on December 4th and 5th. So just looking back at that time, even myself, I was still not a member. I remember seeing posters of photo of True Parents at the old Peace Embassy building here in Honiara. So I was just around, I was maybe middle school at that time. So I usually go past the Peace Embassy and looking at True Parents photo, I often think that that place is for like wedding. So that's the thought that came into my mind when I saw True Parents photos up at the Peace Embassy. So I know during before True Parents historical visit to Solomon Islands, a lot of members did a lot of conditions. I saw in a movie that Uncle John and Uncle Paul Sever, they during their time before True Parents visit, they did I think 1,000 bow every day, and Hoon Dok Hae, and the reading of True Parents speech. So yeah, those kind of conditions were made before True Parents visit to Solomon Islands. And yeah, so True Parents, yeah, so those are some of the photos of members and also all the Japanese missionaries preparing for True Parents visit. So the banner, I think, was made by, drawn by the young people who are members at the time, and flowers and the cake and everything were prepared. Cake, I think, was prepared by our Japanese missionaries and all our Japanese mothers. So yeah, that's Uncle John right there, and Uncle Paul and Auntie Chinami. So yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of sacrifice made. Just eating bread and tea in the morning. Yeah, I think Uncle John really experienced that time, the very strong conditions done before True Parents visit. So really everyone were united and preparing their heart and the environment for True Parents to come. So yeah, these are some of the members and some of the guests at the time. And yeah, true parents came on the 4th, and I just heard stories and from our members that yeah, they want to also boycott true parents. There were a lot of Christian people at the airport waiting for true parents. If true parents came, they want to boycott his visit. So yeah, there are a lot of things also going on, but really true parents uh, magically came earlier than I think what the people are expecting. So yes, true parents came, and I heard from the prime minister at the time, Sir Alan Kemakeza, that he made special order for the security at the airport at the time to really look after true parents when they arrived. So it was really surprising. People they went there, but I think they went after true parents arrived. So true parents arrived at the hotel at the time, Mendana Hotel, and then they were welcomed by our members and blessed families and young brothers and sisters. So it was True Parents' first visit to Solomon Island. So it was very, yeah. And then our elders and members, they went in for Kyombe, and through the time Dr. Young was introducing our members and Uncle John, I can see him standing right next to who's that? Who's Dr. Young, and directly, interacting with true parents that time. So I was moved by how all the leaders and the members were welcomed, the welcome that they gave to true parents. And really one interesting thing there, I saw I think one of the grandchild who came with true parents. When the members they offer their Kyombe, he was the one standing right in front of everyone. So it was really amazing when I saw the video of this visit. So these are some of the photos of people who attend that time, and yes, and some of the members of parliament who attend, and religious leaders who attend at that time for the visit. So yes, True Father came in. I think it was evening. True Father came and gave the speech. So this is the Prime Minister at the time, Sir Alan Kemakeza, and Dr. Walsh and Dr. Young. And when True Father came in, it was such a True Father. His humor is so amazing. He just when the members they offer, Uncle Rex and Auntie Nelly offer flowers to true parents. After true parents offer that flower to Prime Minister Kemakeza at the time, and then amazingly, True Father hit the Prime Minister's head. And yeah, it just like what some people might think why, but yeah, that's the heart that True Father have. He just treat everyone like his children. So it's amazing to see, even great leaders, they respect and true father and true mother. So yeah, after that they made the prime minister offer a gift of traditional ceremony to true parents, and then true father wrapped that ceremony around prime minister and true mother. So yes, and then the next morning they had Hoon Dok Hae together, and members, True Father, I think, asked members to sing. And yeah, it was such a, I saw in the video that True Father, I think during his speech, he he made some some funny comments, and I can saw on his face that he is making some I think members they of those who came react quite late after his speech. I think because of the translation came a little bit slower. So yeah, sometimes he say something, but uh, yeah, the people and the guests and they react quite slow. So I can feel that he the also the limitation that we have that time of translation and everything. But however, True Father really um, very powerful speech he gave during that time. So I would like to just read some part, the first parts of True Parents' inaugural speech. Uh, I I get this one from um, True Father speech in America, but I think it's the same speech that True Father gave everywhere they went for the inauguration of UPF. So uh, True Father in his speech he said, "I address you as leaders from around the globe who do not hesitate to make extraordinary efforts for the realization of world peace. I would like to express my deepest gratitude for your being present here tonight in spite of your very busy schedules. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin the 21st century, we find ourselves at a truly historical turning point. We are at a point of uh, decision. Can everlasting world peace take root, or are we doomed to repeat the 20th century's dark and oppressive history of war and conflict? The 20th century was a period of ceaseless struggle, including wars for colonial dominion, the First and Second World War, the Korean War, and the Cold War. Living through this era, I dedicated my life entirely to the accomplishment of God's ideal of peace. I have always prayed sincerely that the United Nations founded after the Second World War would be an institution of peace and that it would uphold God's will for the realization of eternal world peace. The United Nations has made important contributions for peace. Nevertheless, at its 60th anniversary, there is a broad consensus, both inside and outside the organization, that the UN has yet to discover the way to fulfill its founding purposes. The number of member states is approaching 200, but the offices of these states do little more than represent and even insist on their own interest. They seem inherently unable to resolve conflicts and achieve peace. For this reason, I declare today before all humanity the founding of a new international organization, the Universal Peace Federation. Its mission is to renew the existing United Nations and provide a new level of leadership as an able type United Nations. That is a United Nations whose effort for peace are offered to heaven, investing itself ceaselessly in living for the sake of others. To commemorate this day in its fullness, I am declaring a message from God to humanity in this age. It is entitled God's Ideal Family, the Model for World Peace. Yeah, so the True Father thing, really True Father bring the focus back to, for a world to become peaceful. Father gave very simple formula, and the formula is God's ideal family is the model for world peace. So really, sometimes I reflect and think that peace comes. Yeah, some people or they search for peace through external means, but Father really, uh, the speech Father talks about for an ideal world of peace to be realized, it begins from God's ideal family. So yeah, he he continues to say, respected world leaders, what do you think is God's ultimate purpose for creating human beings? Simply put, it is to experience joy through relating with ideal families filled with true love. What does an ideal family look like? At first, each person in the family is an owner of true love. When God first created human beings, he made Adam representing all men, and Eve representing all women, with the intention that they become owners of true love. The quickest way for them to cultivate a character of true love was to secure a parent-child relationship with God, whereby they could live in attendance to God as their Father. They were to have followed the path of living as one family with God. I invited you to enter into a mystical state and prayerfully ask God, what is the center of the universe? I am sure that the answer you hear will be the parent-child relationship. Nothing is more important or more precious than the relationship between parent and child. This is because it defines the fundamental relationship between the Creator God and human beings. Yeah, so these are Father's words, um, and he said, then what defines the parent-child relationship? Three things define this relationship: love, life, and lineage. So without our parents' love as a condition, none of us would be alive today. God created human beings out of his absolute love in order to be his partners in love. This relationship forms an axis of love, linking God the Father with human beings as his sons and daughters. Is there anything higher or more precious than to be a son or daughter of God? If anything were higher, then surely human desire would aspire to attain it. But there is nothing higher. Do you think that when the omniscient and almighty God created Adam and Eve, he secretly reserved the highest position for himself and made Adam and Eve to be only second best? We cannot imagine that God would do that to his children, to his partners who share absolute love with him. As our eternal true parents, God invested himself 100% into the creation of human beings and endowed us with the right to have equal status with him, to participate in his work as equals, to live with him, and to inherit from him. God bestow upon human beings all of his attributes. Yes, so these are the parts that I would like to read from True Parents' inaugural speech. It was a very long speech. However, I, I just get this few paragraphs from the beginning. And yes, the True Father really, um, if you read further, he talks more and more about the parent-child relationship, and Yeah, so um, here the two main points that True Father talks about is God's ideal family, and in order for love to fulfill, uh, there have to be a parent-child relationship. So we have to have a parent-child relationship with God. Yeah, so God doesn't created us to become second best, but He wants us to become His partner of love, to become His partner who share absolute love with Him. So yes, true parents, we can see God invested Himself, not half, not 50%, but 100% into creating us. And we can see this same values being practiced by our true parents. Our true parents have invested their life, and they have invested 100% or more than 100% for us, investing for us to have and um, and beautiful and ideal families. So they have sacrificed, and they have um, bestowed to us the blessing. So really, we are heading towards a blessing this weekend, and really the blessing is truly a gift that our true parents have given to each and all of us, all our members. Uh, True parents' desire is for us to resemble, to become God's good object partner who really give joy to God. Yeah, so I just want to read a little bit about um, read a little bit from True Father's autobiography in the preface, and also some part from the chapter one of True Father's book autobiography. And yes, in doing this, True Father, his life course was never been easy. True Parents' life course to give us the blessing and to liberate us is a path that only Heavenly Parent understood. So really, True Father worked a very difficult course in order for us to become God's sons and daughters, and to bestow the blessing upon us. So, uh, True Father, in his autobiography, in the preface, True Father said, "I am a controversial person. The mere mention of my name causes trouble in the world. I never sought money or fame, but I've spent my life speaking only of peace. The world, though, has associated my name, many different phrases with my name, rejected me and threw stones at me. Many are not interested in knowing what I said or what I do. They only opposed me. Yeah, so I have been unjustly imprisoned 6 times in my life by Imperial Japan, in Kim Il Sung's North Korea, by South Korean Syngmanri government, and even in the United States. And at times I was beaten so hard that the flesh was torn from my body. Today, though not even the slightest wounds remains in my heart. Wounds easily disappear in the presence of true love. Even enemies melt away without a trace in the presence of true love. True love is a heart that gives and gives and wants to continually giving. True love is a love that even forgets that it already gave love and gives love again. I have lived my entire life intoxicated in such love. I want nothing aside from love, and I threw my entire being into the effort to share love with my impoverished neighbors. Yes, so true Father, um, when I read this part, I was thinking about, I was reflecting also about Jesus' life. So according to Christian history, now is the last week or the few days, last days of Jesus on earth, according to Christian history. So um, divine principle really teaches us that true Father, the sorrow of Jesus was that he was unable to really find a bride who can really stand beside him. So really that's the victory of our true parents. Though he went through a lot of ridicules, rejections, and many different things, hardship, difficulties, but the victory that true parents won was that in 1960, true father could able to host the marriage supper of the Lamb mentioned in the Bible. So that's the victory of our true parents, and from there on, they could able to extend that blessing to us from their individual and to their family level, and until now we are in the era of channel book. So true parents are now encouraging us not to keep to ourselves the blessing, but to share to others, to become heaven's treasure, as true mother always said. So yes, at times the path of love was so difficult that my knees buckled under me, but even then I felt happy in my heart, dedicated to loving humanity. Even now I am filled with love that I have not yet been able to give. It is with a prayer that this love will become a river of peace, saturating the drought-stricken land and flowing to the ends of the earth, that I now place this book before the world. Recently, a growing number of people have been seeking to know more about me. For the sake of those who are curious, I have looked back on my life and recovered my candid recollections in this book. As for the stories that could not be included in this volume, I hope there will be other opportunities for me to convey them. So yes, true Father, despite the many difficulties, true Father have given to us the guidelines through all the textbooks. So yeah, we are so blessed at this time to be able to receive all the necessary guidance that can help us to achieve what our Heavenly Parent have long desired for us. So I send boundless love to all those who have put their faith in me, remain by my side, and live their lives with me, and especially to my wife, Hakjahan Moon, to whom I am deeply grateful for struggling with me to scale the most difficult peaks. Yes, so our true mother, beside true father, though they were ridiculed many times, but our true father never spoke and never cursed or never judged anyone, but they live a truly life of sacrifice for humankind. So I have been to almost 200 countries. There were not many countries where I could land at the airport and think to myself, this really is a peaceful and content place. There were many places where, because of civil war, soldiers held their weapons high, guarding the airport and blocking the street. The sound of gunfire could be heard day and night. Several times I came close to losing my life in places where I went to talk about peace. In today's world, there is an endless series of conflicts and confrontation, large and small. Tens of millions suffered from hunger with nothing to eat. Yeah, so true fathers share this point many years ago, and yes, we are seeing also a lot of conflicts and all this happening around us because uh, people, uh, leaders, uh, are not taking, who are not fulfilling their responsibility. So I would like to shortly reflect before I finish. So we can see that behind uh, our, our true parents and behind every events and whatever we do, we can see that God is always there. Our heavenly parent is always there. So uh, reflecting on um, true parents um, cause their sweat, blood, sweat, and tears that many people have shed also to advance that providence of heavenly parent. So we can think it is easy to lay such foundation that we are enjoying now, but really it's not easy as we see now. There are countless stories, and we can reflect in the Bible and see that uh, yeah, before a success comes, there have to be sacrifices made. Yeah, so example of Noah and Abraham and Jesus and Moses before, yeah, would, uh, great success took place, there have to be a great sacrifice. Yeah, so also these people, when they follow God's will, they were also ridiculed and mistreated. But however, they faithfully follow their mission. Yeah, so I also like Goldie of the United Church here in Solomon Islands. I I study his life, early life, and how the church came here, and it was never easy how he came. He was almost died, but yet because of his strong faith and will, he could able to establish the United Church. So, thing with those, I would like to conclude by reading our Father's word from his autobiography, 100 page 128 to 31. He said, "I never forget the pain I experienced when harassed and subjected to all those false accusations I endured, even when so many people stood against me, that I felt like there was no inch left for me to stand on all of Korea. The sorrow I felt from this time has remained with me in a corner of my heart. Likewise, some of those who are at that time of the beginning time of our providence, not only Solomon Islands, but um, those who really begin each providence in each nation can experience hardship, persecution from outside during your time in beginning the providence in your nations. But everyone, we can also testify that before you start something new, we have to face hardship. So, what we learn from the history and from the stories that we learned that the central figures became successful because of their absolute faith in God, Heavenly Parent. They demonstrate absolute faith before heaven. So they was serious about fulfilling their given task or responsibility, and they have humility and strong conviction. So Father said, I might be a tree that is buffeted by the wind and rain and scorned by fire, but I would never be a tree that burns and dies. Even a branch that has been scorned will have new buds when the spring comes. If I continue on my way with humility and conviction, the day will surely come when the world will understand the value of what I do. So this is what I would like to share with us. So thank you so much again for all the blessed families and all the missionaries who came to Solomon Islands, and Uncle John and your family. You have made sacrifice for the really extension of uh, Heavenly Parents' providence here. So I would like to thank all of you again, and let's have a blessed week. Thank you, and blessed and shield.
Thank you, Reverend Arnold. It's so grateful to reflect upon everything that you said and mentioned, and it brought back many memories of what happened at that time. Just to recap some of those for some of the people that maybe don't know. The reason why you mentioned in the beginning that they were prepared to block father and mother coming, and we had a lot of opposition in Solomon Islands, especially from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and what surprised them is the reason they weren't around is because father flew in on his private plane, and they were expecting him to arrive on a regular flight. And so father turned up an hour and a half earlier than the regular flight. And so they were totally surprised and they didn't know what to do. But there are a number of sad things, even though the government accepted, even though the government prepared, and even though the government even had a motorcade and a limousine, everything prepared, all of that was stopped and blocked. None of it was received by father. And father spent 4 hours in one little room before he could get through immigration. Just true father and true mother. The others were allowed through. There was no one there to take the bags off the plane, and they wouldn't let us go and do it. So they waited 4 hours, and Paul Saver and myself and Michio and Shizio, we were there to greet them because they only wouldn't let anyone else, only a limited number of people to go to the airport to greet. And so when we got there, because the airport facility and the airport administration was all controlled by one Seventh-day Adventist person who was adamant not to let father in. And like I said, they were stuck there for 4 hours. And finally, when the door was open, Paul, myself, Michio, and Michiko and Shizio were allowed in, and we had garlands to put over their head, like to greet them, like they should have been really treasured. And mother was so upset, and we tried to, they attempted to put the garlands over Michiko put garland. Well, basically mother was upset, said no, and then this everyone got sad, and then I just insisted to Shizio and Michiko, just put it on, even though they're upset, still welcome them, don't and then father encouraged mother to receive and accept the garland put over her head, and then mother calmed down a bit, and then father was not fazed at all. He was just taking in his stride. He was smiling to everyone. He was so gracious, the mother was so angry, so upset. And then when we came out, we saw all of the things that were prepared by the government were blocked and didn't arrive. And then the plane that was supposed to come, because they waited so long in the airport, turned up, and there was some other VIP person, and they gave all of those things to that person, and took him to the airport. And finally we got to the airport, to the hotel, and Mandana Hotel, and which had just been remodeled, and so Father was going into a pristine room, and we found that very nice. And yes, it was very great privilege to stand right next to Father, and we gave reports, Dr. Yong, Paul Saver, myself, and introduced the members. And one of those photos that Reverend Arnold showed was Reverend Kemakaza and Dr. Walsh and Dr. Yong. And I don't know if you saw, Dr. Yong was holding a small little booklet. That was the program. That was just even getting that program ready. And also you saw that picture of the crowd, and they all looked like they were sitting outside. Well, that was the overflow area, because the crowd that turned up was the biggest crowd that ever assembled in Solomon Islands in one place, other than going to a soccer stadium that could have taken more, which we did for the Global Peace Festival. But and so there's this massive overflow area, thousands of people, and that booklet itself was a task, because no one would print it. Too expensive. So I ended up buying a laser printer, brought it from Sydney to Australia, then all the paper, and got all the members, and we spent 2 days printing thousands of these little programs of several pages, which had the entire speech in it. And many conditions we did. Paul Saver did the 1,000 bows. I didn't do 1,000. I did 300. But but we had lots of prayers and conditions throughout the day. It was a fantastic time, but a lot of difficulties. And then True Parents leaving were held up, and they again blocked. And I wrote this long letter to the government, explaining that all of the things that they promised never happened, and then they apologized after. But it wasn't. But yeah, Father had to endure so many things during that time. Felt so sorry, but also very proud. And that was Ernie Eisenbrook who sang the songs. Some people might remember Ernie. He was, and actually he had his whole life ambition was to sing in front of Father. He was telling me just days before, and he had prepared all these songs. And when Father came, the very first thing he did, he just knew. The very first thing he did, he asked Ernie to sing, and Ernie was just so surprised. It had all these songs ready, and then he sung them, and he just sung them, and then he just sung them, and then he started to go off and started talking and talking. And in the end, Father had to tell him, "Okay, that's enough now. You can stop." So it was a lot of wonderful things, but also a lot of heavy duty, intense times. And even the setup for the internet, I mean, I spent ages, because no one knew how to do things. So I spent ages setting all the internet up so we could have smooth transmission. And in the background, I was doing all the videoing, and I could see Father looking at a distance, watching me. And I've had this encouragement, like Father saying thank you, and I was thinking thank you to him. But yeah, it was a great event, and very precious. So thank you. And I can see Randall's got his hand up. Go ahead. Thank you, everyone.
If you're in speaker mode, then you can see the background that I've put there, that is actually a photo from trueparents.org of Father speaking in Solomon Islands. So that's what it was looking like inside. So, Arnold, so impressed with your choice of words, choice of quotes, with your preparation for today. It seemed as though you were saying, okay, well, or John was saying that Father was unfazed and just, continued through, and you were just unfazed and continued through with your presentation. It was great. I'm preparing a sermon for Easter Sunday, and basically it's looking from the point of view of, what was Jesus really wanting to do? And I'm trying to prepare it so that Christians or that our members can share it with their Christian or even Christian friends or even their family members. Basically looking at how Jesus went through a lot of things, and his family relationship there as well, where his own brothers were trying to do things against him because of their, the basic religious view at the time. So yeah, it's hopefully it'll be in a way that people will want to record and share. But anyway, thank you very much. It's I'm sorry the ecumenical or the interfaith type of reaction that has gone on in the islands has been so severe at times, because religions do hold a very strong role in Solomon's, Tonga, Fiji, all over. So yeah, it's we really need to address the interfaith aspect of things. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Randall. Thank you. Yes, Margaret, go ahead.
Thank you, Reverend Arnold, for sharing so deeply. Imagine you were not even there, and yet you could convey the heart and the spirit of the time. Is really wonderful. Very hopeful for young leadership in the island nations. I just wanted to share a tidbit about when True Parents came to Palau to understand True Mother's heart. I did an introduction for Reverend Kwok, who will introduce Father, and Mother got very angry. I heard from Dr. Yong later in the room, and later she said to Dr. Yong, she spoke too long. And then Dr. Yong explained that Mother's concern is Father's health, and therefore time is very important for her, that everything runs smoothly so that Father can do his talk and then can rest. So that was very important to understand, and I wish I knew that more deeply. So I truly was very repentful for not understanding deeply that Mother's heart is everything to make Father comfortable. So that she was in Palau also. We had it was not Seventh-day Adventists, it was evangelicals who had placards outside, and later I heard Mother also was very upset. That shouldn't have happened. So yep, we have our work cut out for us.
Yeah, very true. So thank you. And just the last person before we go to our prayer is Jacinta. You got your hand up?
Oh yeah, I just want to ask you, John, was that it wasn't actually about the Seventh-day Adventists that we had come to the camp here at Belgrave. Was that before that visit of true parents to, I was wondering if those two events were connected, because I know.
No, they weren't connected. No.
Oh, okay, that's good. I just. So,
All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll just go and share our screen, and then we can offer our unison prayer. Okay. Thank you. Let's pray together.
but another thing we should try harder or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you-
Adieu, adieu, adieu.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. And thank you very much, Reverend Arnold, and see you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Reverend Arnold, today.
Here's Eve.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.